Hello and welcome, ladies and gents, back to 2.5 Talent 2026. We are back. I don't know what episode we're on now, but this is now spanned across 3 different calendar years. Is it 3 or 4? 3 different calendar years, I think. I think it started in
3? Yeah, I'd say 3, yeah.
2024, right? 24, 25,
No,
26.
earlier.
I think
I would
23,
say
no?
23.
Shit,
Yeah,
have we spanned
23 as
across...
well.
God, have we gone across that
4,
many
yeah.
years? Oh my god. Oh,
It's because we do like one episode per 6 months at this
yeah,
rate.
it's true.
So.
It's true. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. But we're fixing that this year. We're going to do better. But we are back. We're live. We're ready to get into, I guess, the new year. There's plenty to talk about to a degree, but it's most of which is kind of rumor mill, which we'll kind of be taking into. But of course, before we get into any of that, let's discuss what we've been up to. Paladin, Kickstarters. Last time we did an episode was, I guess, pre-major. So what's life been like last couple of months?
Pre-major. Damn. Yeah, I go to graduate school in Philly and
Bang.
just graduated, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess as far as casting goes, CCT was on. I think we had a couple of frags going. ECL happened. And yeah, now we're here. So January brings a lot more esports for me, at least. I'll be involved a little bit more. So excited to kind of kickstart the new year. And yeah, it's a weird one. Like we kind of don't know a lot about what's coming, but we do at the same time. So it's a bit weird, but excited to get into it.
Trav, what about you, mate?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I would say probably a busier sort of end to the year and Christmas than I'm used to. I think I was quite lucky to have quite a lot of games toward the end of last year and just some online tournaments. And I think I did the final of the Nobwin Clutch series, for example, and lots of bits and pieces with CCT. I went to the major. Budapest is honestly a great city. Really enjoyed it. Met some great people and caught up with some people that I hadn't seen in a while, and of course also met some new people who I've known in the scene for a very long time, but not yet met. So that's always very nice. And yeah, I think in general those trips are very special. And you know, you can say what you want about Starladder and how they hosted the major. The experience in the arena was still excellent, and I loved it. Sure, you know, people talk about the seating and all that stuff, but I still loved it. I had good company, and that's all what it's about, isn't it? So. Great event, great city, great capital. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, looking to get into the good stuff now into the new year. Of course, we're going to talk about the Hltv awards and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'm excited to do some more traveling this year in general because that's one thing I haven't done as much of in my career, maybe as such. Like I maybe traveled 4 times for casting and just broadcast work in general. So I'd like to do a bit more of that this year.
That's the one thing I've got going for me. I've been traveling a fucking hell of a lot. It was a really kind of I think since the last episode, it's been a pretty like busy end to the year. I think if I'm right in saying, since the last time we did an episode, I went New York, did Halloween with Annie. We were out there in New York doing Halloween, which was a great laugh. From there, straight to the Netherlands. Following that, of like a few days in England before then going to Norway, go and look for the Northern Lights. That was just like a trip, and then it was into kind of like work. End of the year for me when Budapest Major was on, I was in China working Crossfire. That was like 3 weeks, and then another like 3 and a bit weeks straight from there to Thailand on holiday with a friend from uni. So it's been pretty mental. And of course then coming back, I think I had 4 days in England before then going to Serbia for the last week. Only landed last night, so I'm still pretty fucking knackered, to be honest, but ready to kind of get this year underway. And like Trav was saying, I think there's no better time to start than with Hltv Awards. Myself and Trav, we were there. We were present, and no better thing to start with than a lovely pic of Trav that I found.
Wait,
I've been going for. No, it's not a bad one. It's just that one of you posing up on the red carpet. I got our red carpet pickup. So got yours, got mine. Which
what with the I see. Okay.
Yeah, Henry called it my Miami Vice suit. Which
yes.
I do kind of agree, actually. I did, you know, I will say I think I was the only person wearing like light blue, or one of the only people. So
yeah,
went a little different there.
I went with the turtleneck to change it up, right? Because
exactly.
like so many people go, slight laziness as well, just to not go for the tie and have to worry about taking that off for the night and then putting it to one side because it's just annoying. That's laziness, fair enough. Yeah. But the turtleneck, that wasn't bought like alongside the suit I bought, so. Yeah. I was quite happy that it matched particularly well. I got a compliment in my Instagram DMs from Tea Time, and we
There
all
we
know
go.
Tea Time is a great dresser, and he
That's
likes
it.
his fashion. So I did something right. So
That's it, mate. That's exactly that's all that matters, right? You know, if you're getting the notice, then you're doing something right.
yeah.
But let's talk about the kind of the main things. We got awards. I think I think it's easy to start with the big one, which is kind of like, I guess, probably arguably kind of one of the bigger sort of controversies was Player of the Year. Now, I don't know how you guys kind of feel about it, but I'm torn a little bit. I do have a bit of bias to Vitality, obviously just because of Messi being there, but Zyro winning over Donk, especially when it became a pretty big topic of conversation following the announcement of Zyro winning, was actually that kind of stat thing that was put up showing that basically just Donk was number one in every single stat, more or less, bar basically trophies. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think it's a pretty valid point of contention. I think it was Prof maybe on Hltv Confirmed saying that this is the best number 2 like of all time, basically, and this number 2 is better than like 80% of number 1s of all time. But the argument to made, did Donk actually, if we're just talking about just the best player, is Donk still the best player of the year? Because statistically, it kind of looked like it.
You know, I tried to draw a lot of comparisons to that of like Simple, when he was able to sit atop the charts. And I mean, this team also didn't win very much. Like on some of the newer ones, like 2019, 2020. I go down and look at the MVP awards, or sorry, the trophies that they were able to lift. One was Katowice in 2020, and then in like 2019, it was just like a star series. And everything other than that, it's like third places across the board. And the fact that this guy is able to like be that high up in the list, it leads me to believe that, I don't know, that maybe there was something different in terms of the consideration. Now that you have rating 3.0 involved and things like that, and people value like I don't know, like ring culture a little bit
Yeah.
more. But for me, I don't think Spirit would be a relevant team if Dunk wasn't on this roster. To be
Absolutely
completely
agree.
honest with you, I mean, the supporting cast was abysmal this year. No matter which iteration you want to talk about, it's just about seeing if they could bolster Dunk for majority of these rosters. So I don't know. For me, it felt pretty cut and dry. The amount of impact that one player could have in the server to keep a team relevant, that should be rewarded for something. And I don't think that I think that Vitality would still be a relevant team if Zaiwu was not on the roster. And I don't think that's a ridiculous statement to say. Like, especially considering when you look at the rest of the top 20
Yeah.
and where the rest of the gang actually like placed, it feels a little bit reasonable to say that, I don't know. I would give it to Donk in this situation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously it's been a big topic for everyone in the scene. I think my head, from like the one half of my brain that has seen all the HLTV top 20s from years gone by, knew it was going to be Zywo, because they take achievements into consideration so much, right, like, and trophies into consideration so much. The other half of my head was like, wait, Donkus is clear and away, like rating, stats, all those number ones. It's been better than Zyro this year, and I wondered how much better Donk would have had to have been to wrestle the number one away from Zyro. Would it have gone Donk's way in it? Would it never? Sorry, would it never have gone Donk's way in any scenario? Would he have had to be like a 0.3 ridiculous rating higher to somehow take it off of Zyro? Like I don't actually know. I think it's fair enough to choose Zyro considering what he's won and the lack of what Spirit has won. Maybe if Donk had won, let's say, one major this year. Let's say if he'd won at least two more big S-tier events rather than just the Cologne as being the one prestige event, right? Then maybe we could have a conversation about it. But I understand why they picked Zyro. I just think the best player was Donk, and that is just unfortunately not what that ranking is necessarily all about historically, because they always take accomplishments and wins very seriously into that rank.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, he kind of even says like on the kind of the roundup that HTV have done. It's like, you know, when you look at the French side beheld Vitality win 9 trophies in 2025, including 2 majors and collecting 8 MVPs. it's, you know, the accolades alongside the performances. I mean, still a fantastic year by Zaiwu, don't get me wrong, but, you know, you got to feel for Dong. I think, you know, again, as I said on HTV confirmed, this is the best number 2 of all time. Like, I don't really think there's that much of a debate, and kind of feel for him. And then I guess as well, just I'm gonna run down through all of them. Women's Player of the Year, Astra winning that. That's actually the first time we've not had Anna, right? So Anna's won, I think it was
I think so.
3 back to back. Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
3 back to back. So bit of a change up, but also that whole team was kind of like non-existent. They weren't even in like the top 3 teams. The Imperial roster. So a whole kind of like different world, I guess, in kind of the Impact scene, and kind of, I guess, as well, the final year for Impact. I mean, who knows really what the landscape of kind of the women's scene is really going to look like. Following that Team of the Year, I don't think we need to debate that one really too much. I don't think there's that much that needs to be said. Bigger Creeper getting it for the women's as well. Then Rookie of the Year, I don't really think there's that much of a debate here. I mean, the way I kind of like, when they had the top 3 up and they were talking about, you know, they were kind of trying to build the hype up around this moment. It was like Molodoi, Kaisuke, Makaze. It's like, well, who's the only one of these 3 that's actually in the top 20? That's obviously the guy who's the Rookie of the Year. Kaisuke and Makaze, especially, no offense to Makaze, weren't even close, right? So, Molodoi, fantastic year. I mean, single-handedly has made, well, not single-handedly, but it's been a very prevalent reason as to why Fury are relevant again. I think also Yukindar getting back to some of his best is obviously another very prevalent reason, but Molodoi has been spectacular all year long. For us tier 2 knowers, this isn't a surprise. We knew this guy was going to pop off. Maybe a surprise that it is on Furia more than anything, but
and to this extent in his first year.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, what a year he's had. I mean, we always kind of knew whenever he eventually was going to step up, he'd do well.
Yeah, my expectations for him was that it would take maybe a year and a half before he started getting going, especially because of the jump that he would have had to have gone through. But yeah, I mean, it to me, I dictate him as the spark plug for Furia.
I like that. Yeah.
Basically, it's igniting them to actually get back into contention. I mean, it's not even like he had like the biggest, like most insane start, like just out the gates. But I mean, just the consistency following maybe the first few events was like immense, and from there on out, like obviously Yekindar had his moments, but Fallen did as well. You know, like Fallen had individual moments as well in terms of the clutching, and then, you know, all of a sudden, Case Serrato and Yuri were back to being very dominant riflers, which we hadn't seen in maybe a couple of years. Even though, you know, not Kyosuke, Case Serrato had the numbers to go with it. He didn't necessarily jump off the page for me. It still felt like he was kind of like lacking that motivation. So yeah, I mean, this was not even close in my eyes, especially considering Kyosuke just didn't have the sample size on the other end as well. So I'm happy that this was a pretty open and shut case.
Yeah, I think, you know, one thing I've loved about Furia from this year is kind of just like how they've all molded together so well. How Yuri is like this incredible clutch player now, not necessarily that secondary star like behind Case Serrato, as like they maybe would used to be in Furia rosters gone by. And yeah, I think, you know, one of the things I think kind of goes underrated a little bit is just how they've all worked together and managed to figure it out so well. I think Sid flies under the radar, the coach of Fury, a little bit as well, with what he's been able to do with Fallen. Maybe I'm biased because it's the guy I interviewed at Thunderpick and he was very, very polite. But
he seems like a great dude, by the way. Like,
he's a lovely guy.
Note, like every time, I obviously, you know, don't speak Portuguese and whatnot, but when I just see him around, like, super nice. I saw a couple of, like, at the HTV Awards, I'm assuming industry, I don't really exactly know what to do, like whether it's like casters or something behind the scenes, but somebody from Brazil, and they were kind of coming over to him and like congratulating him and speaking to him, whatever. Seems like a super humble dude, right? Super nice
he has
guy.
A lot of time for people. Like he came up to me at the after party and was like, "Bro, remember you interviewed me at Thunderpick?" Maybe he was a little bit tipsy. He's like, "Bro, you remember you interviewed me at Thunderpick? How you doing, bro?" Like stuff like that. And I had a quick chat with him, and in the end, just spoke about like how he felt about the event, the awards, because I think it's his first awards that he's been to. So I just asked him what he felt about it and stuff like that. And yeah, I think he's a great dude. I think that enthusiasm and infectious personality comes across in how Furia play the game. And, you know, Annie mentioned, you know, some of the clutches from the year, by the way. That Fallen clutch on Inferno in Budapest. I was in the arena for that. That might have been the most dumbfounded I've ever been in an arena when a clutch has happened. I've been to an event over the years. That was an incredible moment, and yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget that. So unfortunately, I didn't win that game. I didn't really make a big push for that major, but yeah, I think Navi's anti-strat was kind of perfect to deal with them. But still, it shows what extra factors Fury have had this year.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can run through the sort of individual like position-based ones. However, I think these are all again very open and shut, to be honest. Open of the year, Donk,
yeah.
easy. Close of the year, Rops. Anchor of the year, Mezzy. UKCS, boom. First Brit, probably only Brit ever who's going to win an award, but we'll take them all the same. Orp of the year is IWoo, IGL of the year, Apex, and Coach of the year.
What do you mean, man? What do you mean? Clearly, Gizmy is winning IGL of the year this year after the Kickstarter against Navi.
Yeah, he showed Fraud Lexi what it's like to call a game of Counter-Strike. The British
Easy
way.
for Von Spreckelson.
Yeah, the British way. This is British Counter-Strike, baby. But yeah, like all very, very standard for the rest of the year. And then, of course, the highlight of the year, Donk. I don't think that was debated. Even when
I would have picked
there.
Twists, personally.
I don't think that was a debate for me. I know what you mean with the twist one with the deagle, but man, like that Galil Aces, I love that one. It's just like the head on the swivel, everything. So personally for me, I'm a fan of that one. Talent of the year, Banks winning it as well. Obviously, when it comes down to these ones, a lot of these, when it comes down to the community votes, these are all done public voting. Banks is an insanely good, like, what do you even call it? I guess like a fan base. I guess it's actually the way of calling it. Very, very loyal people. Really well, yeah, he's got such a good. He's very, very good when it comes to awards as well. Like just in general, having like a very, very big social media presence. I think he is sort of in terms of the way to do it. He's kind of got like top of the notch. Like him and I'd say Pim's also got very, very good like social media usage as well. But yeah, Banks winning that one. I also would have I would have liked to have seen Freya win it. I thought Freya had a fantastic year, and continues, I think, to elevate. Event of the year, Star Ladder. I obviously wasn't there in Budapest, but I'm a little bit upset that Austin didn't win it. I obviously was there in Austin. I actually think Austin deserved it, both from like a viewing perspective, but also like I guess maybe I'm biased because I was there, but like man, Austin was such a cool major. I thought it was like really well done. I thought it was very unproblematic, which I think is a good thing. Like the way I always put it is like you say to like I was saying this the other day, like name something that went wrong in Austin, and I couldn't really think of anything.
You'd really have to think and like go through some like nitpicks. Like the only real thing that I would say is that they sold out jerseys really fast, but that's like an in-arena thing.
Yes, exactly.
And that's like a okay problem to have, right? Like you sold out of all your stock.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
If anything, your event was so popular that everyone wanted to buy merch. Right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I was lucky to, for the first time in my life, I was lucky to attend both majors in the calendar year, to go to Austin and Budapest. And I think it's just fair to say that even though the reality of it is that I think you're always, even if there wasn't necessarily technical issues with Star Ladder or whatever, you're probably going to prefer a major that is one that is from a TO that has recently done one in Paris, right? A couple of years. And also one that is at a time of year and a place in the world which has got good weather. When you're in a cold, like very difficult to wrap up warm Budapest, it's a little bit different. Doesn't change how good like the nightlife was or anything like that. But I think people tend to warm to the warm weather, put it that way. So
I will just devil's advocate this though. Austin was arguably too hot. So
I agree. I agree.
I'd actually rather be too cold than too hot, because too cold you can wrap up. Too hot, you're just fucked. Like I mean, like for us Brits out in Austin, it was hot as a motherfucker out there.
Yeah, it was the hottest I've ever. Like that's definitely the highest humidity I've ever dealt with in my life. So yeah, I mean, I don't disagree.
Texas humidity.
Humidity.
I do think every international person that was at that event had gone through like multiple shirts in a day.
Oh yeah, man. Me and Antiperspirant were best mates. Like half a can a day, trying to like keep. Yeah, it was like the second like most uncomfortable heat I've had. Vietnam in wet season was the worst, but that is like it's like basically the worst place to be in the world at that time of the year. So like that was a pretty close second. But I get what you mean, Trav. In all fairness, it's like it is one of those where
I do also think the game value is like something that they probably considered, and Austin for the most part didn't have the craziest games
Yeah, Solana
compared
arguably
to
had the best
Budapest.
player, one of the best players we've had in a
Bracket,
long,
yeah,
long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If maybe even ever. I've heard people say it's the best ever, right? Which I think is it's for a major that is, right? Which I think is actually relatively valid. We've had some pretty good ones recently, but I think you're right, Annie. I think like
Yeah.
game wise, like they were just better games at Star Ladder.
Yeah, I agree. I think the main thing as well is like the value of what list of teams we had in the playoffs. Just looking at it, it got you excited immediately before it even began, right? And sure, maybe there was
Right,
only like
right.
2 giga bangers
Yeah,
out of
they
all of
didn't
them. There was
actually
only
live up. Yeah.
yeah, they didn't actually live up to what everyone was hoping, but they rarely do when that sort of thing happens,
Sure.
right? It's like having the best football teams in the world and like in the World Cup like semi-finals or whatever. It's like having the best tennis players in the semi-finals of Wimbledon or something like that. It's very, very rarely. Sometimes the semi-finals are better than the final and so on and so forth, right? So it can never live up to everyone's expectations all the time.
Yeah. Last few streamer of the year. This one, as someone who does not watch streams at all, I actually think that Everlone guy got robbed. I don't know, like
his viewership is unreal,
but not even just that as well with Everlone. Like the stuff he's done this year, like he's the only guy I've seen. Like first of all, like only doesn't really even stream CS anymore, bar like a bit of watch partying. He was like half the year like MIA playing what was it like? It was like Dota or League, right? I think it was like
I can't remember.
It was like a somebody like keeping
It
track.
was like
And he
I think it was
played
like,
something
yeah.
crazy, like he like not streamed in 2 months and played like 170 games of League or something.
Yeah.
But like Everlone was running like full lands, like stadium lands, with like all the biggest players in Russia, like Kaisuke. He was running these 2v2s. We kept seeing these like 2v2 tournaments and
I
stuff
saw that, yeah.
that he was running. Like he actually like again, I didn't watch any of it. I just saw the clips, but like he looked like he was killing it this year, and he also did like some crazy, again, not stuff that I really give a shit about to be honest, but like stuff to do with like crazy trade ups, with like trading up like 100 grand worth of skins or whatever, like stuff that like I only used to do, but he doesn't really stream that much. Like he's just not really streamed that much. Obviously, again, it's a popularity contest when it comes down to this, and he's got a lot of people behind him. Creator of the year, Dean won that. I feel bad for Vera. I think Vera continues to just be like, basically, I think the best content creator in Counter-Strike. Like, I don't
agree.
like. Obviously, under the competitive scene, there's not really like. And Dima mentioned this actually. He got asked about it during the awards. There's like, you know, it's hard to make content in a game where there's no new content, right? So super valid for him still creating stuff. Again, it's not really, I don't really watch any of it or anything like that, but like what Vera does, I think is a very nice timestamp. Like I quite regularly go back and watch videos that I'm in, or like go back and watch events that I thought were really sick, and I always go back and watch Vera. I always think he does such a sick job. His compilations are timeless. They are just timestamps of like they immortalize events for us. Obviously, events are great in the time we're watching them live, but the stuff that he does post event is huge.
I just like to quickly say before you chime in, Annie, about that. Like, I still have. Like, I can still think of like Vera frag movies from like 2016, 2017.
Exactly.
I can think of the soundtrack and the song he used. I'm like, oh my god! Suddenly, I understand. Like, everyone's pretty nostalgia heavy these days, right? Everyone loves a bit of nostalgia, but yeah, like I can think back to those and I immediately feel so good. I can take myself back to what teams were there, what players were there, what rosters were competing. And as Neo touched on as well, like the odd video that we're in, of course, obviously means something as well. It's just nice to hear us.
Again, it immortalizes events.
Yeah.
Frag movie culture is something that is kind of dying. I mean, it used to be like such a huge thing when you like go to the previous games, and it's like a historical thing. Like people don't really have demos to look back at.
Agreed.
And sometimes they just have to look at those kinds of frag movies and say, this is how we would describe a player to you. And now, obviously, we've got all the tools at our disposal, but keeping that culture alive, I think, is just so valuable. And he's been doing it for a very, very long time. And it only feels like very recently he's actually getting recognized for that. And for me, I think this is an inevitability that he will win it eventually because he's been just so dedicated event after event. And I'm talking like he's releasing it like a day after the event's over.
Yeah,
like,
he's editing mid-event, basically.
Yeah. When you're like chasing that high, especially as a viewer, and you just come down off of like an incredible event in a couple weeks, it's great to just have that right there. And then again, going back to it to recognize all the great plays. also fantastic. It's something that's timeless, and it's something that I hope that he just sticks around and keeps at it, because I think he will win it eventually.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think his one from like Cologne 2017 is like my comfort video. Like everything to do with it, just like the soundtrack, everything, just beautiful.
Yeah, and he's also been doing it for like, I mean, like, kind of as you were touching on it, but he's been doing it for such a long time where it was sort of like unrewarded in a sense. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like by any means getting the level of recognition he deserved, but also probably not even like the viewership figures and the sponsorship figures behind it to like, you know, it's very easy to have dipped out and gone elsewhere. So I'm glad he stuck around with it. And yeah, I think you're right. It's like inevitable that he should win it at some point. He's absolutely killing it. Then we got Skin of the Year, who gives a fuck. We'll move on, because who cares? Who
I don't want to say anything about that. I just want to say something like just to close out the awards bit.
Stream.
Who cares? Just want to say that firstly, really appreciate like what HLTV do for our scene, and to not just like create a website which we all use for work and we all love to use just for following Counter-Strike. Now putting on these award shows, which are getting better and better every single year. This one was obviously a lot bigger. They had like 400, 500 more people total.
It was like basically double the amount of people as last year.
It was
less.
Exactly like venue was a lot bigger. Made the after party a little bit crammed, a little bit crowded. I think I spoke to a number of people who agreed with that.
Yeah.
But still,
they actually closed off more space than the previous year.
Yeah,
remember it was like open, and now
the dance floor bit they kept separate this year, right?
Let's open up more. I think is next.
Let's open up more. If there's space in that hotel, open up more. But
Yeah.
basically, what I wanted to say is just thank you to HLTV, because it's a wonderful time to meet everyone who you've worked with in the calendar year, people you might not have ever met before, like lots of the Americans who flew over. To make something happen and to make a crazy trip happen. I mean, shout out to Mr. Get the Bag Mark. I mean, he first ever international flight coming from America to go to Serbia. Crazy choice. And yeah, like even seeing some of the like people from Oz, like some of the Semperfi players who are over to play in some some EU tournaments. Seeing some of the ZA guys as well, like seeing Tech Girl and seeing her partner and having a nice chat with him. And getting to go karting, because I was lucky enough to do all the activities. So shout out HLTV. I've loved F1 and all sort of car racing for years and years, and I got to go karting for the first time. So I just want to say thank you for that. No one from HLTV is going to watch this part of the show, I'm sure, but thank you, bloody thank you anyway.
I will say the one critique I have of it, well, I say one critique, like maybe obviously it was like a little packed with like the two different rooms, maybe like trying to open them up. I don't think you need to have two different rooms, but I like the idea they were trying to go with. I think they leveled it up this year. It just got bigger. Like there was just more going on. There was like a contortionist at one point. I was very baffled when I walked out.
Yeah, like with like big feathers and like doing.
It was mental. Like I walked out and no one had told me what was going on. Your boy was just really feeling a cheese toasty, and I walk out and there's just this lady like a pretzel. I'm like, what's going on here? Like who's
wait, I'll get the
whose mum's this? Like come, like someone's had too many rackias. What's she doing? But then I realized it was a show. That was wild. And then I saw this like later on in the night when I was much drunker. I saw this gigantic robot walk past.
The robot was crazy.
So this table was like just for her, like this.
Yeah, this little like circular table was only for her to like do her contortionist like acrobatic stuff on.
Generally, was so confused when I saw it. I was like, I was baffled. Like, who is this? Like, no one had told us that this was happening, and I genuinely, my initial thought was like, wow, like somebody's drank way too much already. Like this is pretty.
Well, one guy
early.
did apparently who like face planted the table on the dance floor or some shit. Like
I won't name names, but I do know who it is.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do as well.
Okay, put it in Discord. I won't say it.
I will.
Okay.
But that ended the night quite abruptly. The DJ cut the music the second that table hit the deck.
I'm sure.
But no, all in all, good night. I think the only complaint I would have is book more spots for the activities, because like it was like a group of like, I think in the end, like our group chat on WhatsApp or whatever had 35 people in the group chat, and one person got to an activity of the 35, and
And the only
from
reason
what
I got to do karting is
'cause
because Lucy didn't want to do it.
Exactly.
So I took it from her. Yeah.
So yeah, or even easier, like kind of just to make a job easier, just don't offer them to non-VIPs. Like obviously, none of us are VIPs, right? Lucy's a VIP. Lucy and Brandon, of course, VIPs. They're on the committee voting for the women's stuff, right? So that makes complete sense. If you're a VIP, give them the chance of activities, but don't offer it out. Don't tease us, right? Don't offer it out, and then like none of us get it. Just give it to VIPs only. That makes a lot more sense, and then we can plan our own things, which is what we end up doing. We end up going bowling.
The bowling was sick. I was actually really impressed, like how many people from like our circle and like commentators and talent we managed to get. Like, I mean, just off the top of my head, we had, as you say, we had like 30 or something, right?
Even the 5 lanes.
Yeah.
5 lanes to 6. So yeah, 30,
5 lanes to 6, so about 30.
people,
I think like we had,
and there's a few hanging around as well that weren't even bowling.
Yeah, like Tech Girl was there, and like Heku was there, and like I think the NIP women's team was there, like Mia and the lot, right? So, yeah, that was pretty crazy, pretty cool to have so many people at this little get together, which is like an unofficial get together.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And I'm sure we can continue to do it as well every year. But great event, really, really cool. Love it. No complaints. Moving on, let's talk about roster media. Very, very bang average roster moves to discuss, to be honest.
Average being generous.
Yeah, that's
really generous.
It was below average. It was poor. It was mid. But we can discuss some of them. I think like the one that's kind of worth talking about at the start is kind of just the BC game angle. Not because I really care about them picking up the Saw core, but the rumor mill behind that they were going around basically they are Spirit is like a one that was mentioned on HSTV confirmed, but at least the idea is that they probably asked basically every single team how much for your core. And it does open like a pretty interesting conversation of like, I wonder how much these people were, kind of being offered, or like, I wonder like, for Spirit, like what they would have responded. Because we kind of brainstormed it briefly before going live, but like to buy a core, which would therefore make Spirit have like no team, no money, no investment, it would have to be an insane amount of money, which I don't even think BC Game could afford. Well, maybe. I don't know how deep the pockets go for them in terms of the esports division, but like double digits minimum, because then Spirit would then have to buy a core from somewhere else and start from fresh. So yeah, a very interesting discussion. I mean, they definitely wouldn't have been able to get somebody like a Donk. Like him alone would be worth more than like the core of the rest of Spirit. He's worth as much as a core, to be perfectly frank. So if they were to get the core of like, like the quote unquote 3 worst, let's say it was like, I don't know, Chopper, Zwei, Zontix before obviously Zwei made the move or whatnot. That must be that easy. Probably would have been like 10 mil plus, like minimum kind of thing, because that makes Spirit uncompetitive. So I wonder, I don't know what the rumor. How much was it for Saw's core? Was it like 2 mil? Did I see something like that?
I have not seen any of the numbers.
I actually didn't see information about how much it was
at all. Yeah.
I think I read somewhere it was like 2 million, 2.5, something like that. Which, credit to Saw, that's good money for them, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, and also Saw also basically like, because of that, we saw that historically with like Heroic and Falcons and Sangal and all those teams buying each other's cores outright. I think last year, or the year before. But yeah, I think with this, Saw have actually had to start like from pretty much from exact scratch. Like their team is like, I think they bought the XSAD roster or whatever it is, and that's like hundreds and hundreds in the VRS. It's like just a pretty much random Portuguese mix. So
I think in their mind they'll be happy that they're done with that, right? Because let's be honest, ever since that like high of Saw, and they had to recycle a couple of newer Portuguese players, they really weren't hitting those same levels of success. And honestly, now being able to get these guys off your books, you could just kind of say, okay, we're done with that chapter, and now we have no pressure on any of our players, and just build up the Portuguese scene again, which is, I guess, the original plan and intent of this organization to begin with. So
that's the roots.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I don't think they're losing too much sleep over getting a crazy good transfer like this and getting a chance to just start over.
Because it wasn't even just the core as well. Because then obviously Agil then goes to 100 Thieves, and Story goes to FlyQuest. So like all 5 got sold. Like they're probably like pocketing let's say it was 2 mil for the core, like at least probably like 2.5, maybe even a little bit more, maybe towards 3 mil in total for the whole team. Like for an org that is not a huge org in the grand scheme of things, that's a massive like lifeline to keep them afloat, right? It's a big raft to kind of like stay afloat on for a while. So I don't think they're complaining really by any means. But then obviously they're now going to just dwindle in the dregs for a long time.
They're definitely not complaining, but I think like talking about staying afloat on the raft, I do wonder how long 3 Portuguese players and Simple Electronic can stay afloat on the raft. I mean, I just can't
Who's first
see.
gone?
I don't know, dude, but I can't see that like even though they bought the core to be relevant, I can't see as soon as they like establish themselves on the VRS, right, and like get a ranking, which means they can change one more player. I can't see them keeping that team for too much longer. But there's one thing that Materis has done amazingly well in his career, in his what is a very long career, especially in in Go and CS2, is that he's been able to keep his teams relevant whenever the players have been poached or players have left, like maybe examples like Ujerks and Arasdos, for example. Even when they had the Azuru and Sedshot, I think they had at least one decent tournament, right, to keep themselves afloat in the VRS. That's one thing he's excellent at. He's able to keep his team, every team that he's a part of, at like afloat at a tier 1.5 level. With Simple Electronic, that is by far his biggest challenge yet, and I'm not convinced that they're not going to change things again very soon when they have the opportunity.
Well, let me drop a spicy one, and this is somebody that this is something that Annie can also attest to. So obviously we know Simple, not the easiest guy to work with. We know Electronic, not the easiest guy to work with. Not too long ago, me and Annie casted a LAN together out in Saudi Arabia, and there was an interesting final. It was Romania taking on Portugal, and I don't know if Annie can recall how that final map went, where Romania beat Portugal in a bit of a thriller. It was a big comeback from Romania, and a certain Portuguese player was incredibly tilted. Or a couple of them, let's say, but one in particular is part of this transfer. Crazy wasn't by name, by nature, let's say.
Okay.
He looked like a bit of a tilter.
See, look, I think he
Rager.
was yelled at. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was yelled at.
Who was the ginger guy? It was the ginger
It
guy.
It was the IGL. It was the IGL
in the middle. The ginger guy was the guy who was raging at him. But he raged back. I'll give him credit. He stood his ground. However, is that a good thing? Because you're going to get raged at by Simple and Electronic. So
he's battle hardened. He's battle hardened.
What
It can't
was
get
that
any
team?
worse.
It was Rhino, wasn't it? Right? Let me find
Probably.
it now. I think it was Rhino. Yeah.
Surely,
Lost,
like Simple and Electronic are not going to listen to Materis. Like, even though Materis is highly respected, is that going to happen? I don't know.
Who was? Oh, this is going to annoy me. I'm gonna have to find this, but I will. While we continue discussing, I'm gonna get searching for this.
I'll look as well
was
for
it
you.
2024? Was it
24? Yeah. 24.
Yeah. Okay. I'll.
Oh, I got it. It's HS.
Yes, HS. That was it. Those two had a little.
But not the Estonian HS.
No, the
Portuguese
Portuguese one. So that could be interesting. 3 players who are slightly hot-headed, maybe on the same team, I think could be quite interesting.
To me, from like just a theoretical perspective, Aragorn and Crazy are like the youngest guys, and I think Crazy is the one that's probably the most volatile out of all of them, out of the server regardless. Like I don't think that he's going to be on this team for very long, especially when you have other players that are supposed to do his job but better. Like Electronic at the peak of his power is supposed to just be a better Crazy in like every single way. So like what's the point of even having him on the roster? But I think for Mutt, I don't know how he's going to be able to like lead these guys in English, let alone like no Portuguese. So like that's going to be a real issue altogether. And the other thing is like what kind of buy-in does Simple have with an IGL like Materis? Because like we've been around the scene for a while. We've seen what he's been able to do with all these Portuguese players and like kind of build them up with the sum of their parts and make them better than the sum of their parts. And I don't think Simple necessarily has that. Like, how aware is he of that whole Saw saga, and is he willing to give this guy the full reins and the full attention and kind of give the buy-in?
Oh, it's
let's
going to
be
be
frank,
fascinating.
no, right? It's just not gonna happen. I
It's
think
gonna be
I don't think
fascinating.
so.
it's
Yeah.
just gonna implode, right?
And their first game in Krakow is against Legacy, right? Which is like
Yeah.
probably one of the
They're-
worst
they're
teams
not
you'd want to
wi-
play.
Yeah, they're
Because
not
like
winning
Legacy
that
are
game.
so well drilled at this
They
point,
make
right?
you
So
They also
mental
played a LAN
boom.
recently. They
Yep.
played a LAN recently, so it's not even
Yeah.
like they have like jitters.
They just make teams mental boom because they're just like, also that when they get loud as well, they love it. Like it's just like it's a horrible team to play against if you're not 100%. So we'll see. Run through some of these other ones. Regali getting benched by FlyQuest. Honestly, a pretty wild one for me. Obviously, I'm always gonna be a bit biased because I like Regali like as a person, but
yeah.
he has just been like the standout best player. So not even close. Like the entire team's dwindled for a while, and he's the only one keeping them competitive. He's obviously so flashy. Like, and don't get me wrong, Story's a great AWPer, but he's a vastly different type of AWPer where he is a lot more like structured. I think, Story is like, I would say like a bit more of like a team-based AWPer in a sense, right? I think he's really good in his roles. I think his utility usage is fantastic. He's such a great kind of like, turrety AWPer. Regali's like shotgun AWPer, flashy, highlight reel, but in a way, I don't know if it's going to help FlyQuest having a guy who is just like, stable, standard in a sense, right? He's great, don't get me wrong, but he is just like a stable AWPer. The thing that made FlyQuest like competitive was like, right, Regali, give us 30, and he would do it, right? Like Story, he'll give you like, in the region of like 18 to 22, like most games, but he's not going to go crazy or not like super, super commonly. So I don't know how much that's going to help. I think FlyQuest are in a bit of a weird spot. I like that they're still continued to look abroad. I think it's the right call. The right call following this might even be continuing to look abroad, right? Like get another rifler in from overseas, because I think it's all well and good getting the AWPer now, but I think they need one more. I still think that team's still in a bit of a weird spot. Then again, do they care about competing? Yeah, but they're also in like a really uncompetitive region, so maybe like not as much. They're also now outside of the top 30. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one for me. They're just like they're just in limbo, aren't they, really?
For FlyQuest, it's like how, as an org, how serious do you want to kind of compete for a trophy, right?
Yeah.
That's the real question. Because if they do, then obviously this 4-man core is not going to stick around for long.
Yes.
But that's not been the case, right? As they've been totally fine with running with this team. And JKS was a great signing for them because, if you to talk about the best Australian riflers right now, yeah, he'd be the obvious one to select. But yeah, I completely agree with you with the take on Story, because for me, I think what makes them exciting is explosiveness, or what they need is explosiveness, and stability is not going to cut it for them. And so, if you have an X Factor rifler, things change. There is no X Factor on this team. I don't think JKS is an X Factor anymore at this point in his career.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately as well, the guy in the past who's obviously is being the X Factor for FlyQuest when they were like kind of competitive ins, kind of can't do it anymore, right? It's
Well,
very,
he's IGLing,
yeah,
right? So
I know,
like
but
he's not
even,
asked to.
I'll even say as well though, even before he took over the reins of IGLing, he was still losing it. Like he wasn't like, because obviously when we saw Inter at his best, he was sick. Like, I mean, there was like very like kind of common connotations that like, this is a guy that is more than good enough to do what JKS has done and go and play in an international team in Europe, and he can hold his own. Like he's coming to international lands, and despite maybe the team looking uncompetitive, he's still dropping like a 1.3 on average. And now that he's calling, but even prior to him calling, it feels like he's lost that. And then the two youngsters alongside him of kind of Exite and Netic, it's just like, like, I mean, Netic's not looked anything like really that special. Well, he's actually looked less than special, to be perfectly frank. So yeah, bit of a weird one, but who knows? More rogue moves. The Astralis ones. These ones actually for me do feel like quite wild in a sense. Ryu and Fuzine. Now don't get me wrong, in their own right, both quite good players. Like Ryu, I've actually been a fan of him. I think he was doing decent work on Monty. It's still a kind of a left field move, don't get me wrong. Fuzi I like, obviously individually a very good player, but it's just kind of a crazy looking Astralis now. Of course, still this like Danish core with Huxi, Yabi, and Stair, but I worry for this team a little bit. It looks a little bit, middling. You've lost Stown, who obviously is kind of being a bit whatever, but it's still, we know what his ceiling's like, and you've lost Device, right? Which is kind of the identity of this team, really. So
I don't know.
Bit of a predicament. I still love Stair though. I'll shout out that guy one time. I still think he's fantastic, but like, I don't know what to expect from this team now.
No, I mean they're so I mean, look, I
Cooked.
still trust in Hooksy to some extent to make them, vaguely acceptable in tier 1.5, tier 1 tournaments. They're going to get the odd win here and there. But I think Astralis are kind of just cornered in terms of like what is their monetary situation, what options are actually out there in Denmark that are actually worth it. The other option was probably buy the ecstatic core.
Well,
That's
they've tried
not
all the options, right? That's the issue.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
nothing. There's nothing kind of left for them, and you're not going to get an Astralis like in Denmark. You're not going to get an Astralis if you that's like going to be winning events again or get anywhere near that if you go like Nut and Alalele from Ecstatic, right? You're just not going to get that. So, look, I think Rio is very good. I liked him quite a lot on Monty. I think he really stepped up recently, actually, with the level that he can show and what he can deliver. I think he was probably playing slightly better roles than he had historically, which is why he looked a lot better. People were bigging him up for he wasn't really delivering that much. Now he looked a lot better. And
Yeah.
he's grown into it pretty well and looked really solid. I think it's a good pickup. But like, again, they are. I wouldn't say Fuzi's a gamble because he's got quite a lot of tier 1 experience.
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
very solid. And also, I think Device is very clearly like on a downward trajectory in his career. But like Rio is obviously a gamble, but they didn't really have much other choice. Like, I mean, look at Monty. I mean, Monty was nabbed Rainwaker because they lost, because 500 dropped them all, and because they lost Ryu, and Rainwaker just top fragged in Blast and beat Navi, right?
Yeah.
So like, these players still exist, even players that have been there, done that before, and can do good work. For Ryu, it's going to take a lot from him and an improvement from the likes of Yabi to make Astralis anywhere relevant, and maybe they can make a run in like a a tier 1.5 LAN, like I mean, I don't know, like a Fissure or whatever again. But anything more than that is very, very unlikely, surely.
I'm in complete agreement. I think getting Fuzi is like a huge win for Astralis because he's been able to make it work on literally any type of roster. He made it work on Rare Atom, he made it work on Wildcard, and I think he like raised the floor of those teams considerably. And I think he'll do that with Astralis, where Device was supposed to be that player, and you weren't getting that when you had him on your team, which is like if he's not firing, then like what's the point of the entire project altogether? So I think that's a great signing. Yeah, I completely agree though. It all depends on how good Ryu performs. Like that's really the way this roster lives or dies. And I mean, so far it looked pretty good. And they're giving him a lot of space to do what he wants, which is really nice. And I'd hope that it works out for him. But I'm not convinced completely yet that this team is suddenly just going to have more of an identity than the last Danish roster. It still feels like one of those teams that is so desperately trying to copy the other like three domestic team core, and then like adding in two people from a different country type thing. Like that's it. It's what everyone's doing, and very few of them have actually been able to crack that secret sauce.
So many of them are so uninspiring, right? I mean, we like, again, we probably touched on it a little bit, but like what like Fnatic had to go and take Madden because they lost Blame F, right? And like Madden's a good player, but he's not a Blame F type player in my books, right? Like so many of these teams, I was just watching it the other day. Like I think I mentioned it to you, Annie, right? Like seeing Astralis versus Fnatic in Blast and seeing what the rosters are in the modern day is like how have we got here? Like how has this happened? Look, they might be okay. The rosters are actually like not god awful, but it's just not what these wonderful organizations necessarily once were, and they've got no choice. They have to make these calls. They have to take gambles on these good tier 2, tier 1.5 players because there's no other options in their region anymore, and there's no options that will actually push them toward the top anymore. So I mean, if you look at these teams that are taking these gambles, Big are another one. They are not really anywhere near in the VRS, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They've at least brought a very, very good player in Faven back. They've got Blame F now, and they've got Grix. Like, of all the teams that are made moves, they weirdly, out of like Astralis, Fnatic, and Big are going to be far and away the worst, most likely. But on paper, they look the best, which is so strange, right?
Yeah. They do actually look like a cool team. That big side, like they actually, there's a lot to like. Obviously, like still having JDC there as well. I mean, he's like basically for the last 12 to 18 months, he's been the only like redeemable factor about this team, really. So just keeping him in any way has been good. I mean, obviously, like losing Crimbo is on paper a bad thing, but like he's actually not been anything special on that team for a while. He's should have left for G2 a long time ago, and it was a little bit too loyal the way Tabson was, right? But this team actually do look kind of cool. I'm just looking at it now though; they are world ranking of 95th in the world, so
and
God.
18 in the VRS too. So it's not exactly like they're gonna have to really grind these small lands coming up over the next few months to actually get anything at all. And
long
it's gonna be
road
tough
for them. Long road.
Same for like the likes of 100 Thieves and all these teams starting. Like, even though they've
but I definitely think they have a chance. Like, I definitely think that having Blame F as the IGL completely like shifts the way that you kind of perceive Big from now on. Where it's like they're trying again. It's like we're not spinning our wheels again, trying to rinse and repeat Germans or like washed European talent, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, the guys that they were citing before had absolutely no inspiration to me to consider them any good.
Agreed.
Now, yeah.
I just want to say, what you said. I want to pick up on it quickly before you continue.
Yeah.
Would you say it's the best big since they even had Xantares? Like just
like,
on paper.
I was on stream and I did mention this. I think that it actually is.
Okay.
Because you look at Grix and look, I think the big if is, can he play for the whole season? Because health has been an issue and visa issues have been an issue. And I really hope that doesn't come back to haunt them, because if he doesn't play, then all of a sudden you're kind of like, okay, well, we got to bring back like Hyped or something. And then I'm not really that interested anymore. And I think that the Rifle Corps is a really good supportive one. Like, Tabson in the clutch, I'm all for that. JDC a stable anchor, I'm all for that. Same goes for Favin, but like if you're expecting them to put up like mega numbers, these are not the guys to do it. So I need Grix to continue to play on this team for as long as possible. Only then can I say, yeah, this is the best big we've had in a long time. This is probably the best opera they've had in a long time, to be honest.
It's true.
Agree.
He's currently going 12-9, but they're
fine.
They're winning. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. Against
going 3 maps with Hyper
Spirit. Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, Chicardo and Raga are on these teams. Big up.
Romania.
And a drone. It's Nexus rejects.
It's
awesome.
it's Nexus Junior, right? It's the Nexus bench right here.
I'm telling you right now, if Big have to in this like Roman Imperium land, which we're looking at right now, if they have to play Mouse and XT will beat them. That current Mouse and XT is actually quite good.
Is
Again,
this
somehow.
a LAN?
Yeah, it's in Portugal.
Yeah, in Portugal.
Oh my god. We got
Roman, named after the Portuguese player Roman.
Yeah,
yes,
the legend.
correct.
Yeah. He's hosting the LAN.
Pretty sure, yeah.
He's bringing the trophy out at the end.
He's gotta be. If they're not throwing money at him, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? Why waste money on setting up a LAN if you're not going to get Romans to walk with the trophy out like it's Pasha and Kato?
He's in the name, baby. He's in the name.
It's in the name. I guess final one to touch on that's like what I'm talking about is just in general about 100 Thieves, but obviously kind of cool to get this organization back in the fray. It's something that like Nadeshot's teased for so long. Oh, I love Counter-Strike. I want to get back into. He's been saying on stream for the last like 3 years. Finally, gets the wallet out and does it. And in all fairness, made some decent moves here. I'm actually kind of a fan of this team. Obviously, Device and Rain, the unction to start was quite interesting. Rain, I still think he's got a lot to give. Same for Device as well. He's also finally escaped purgatory of Astralis, so good on him. But then the core around them is actually quite interesting as well, right? Like a Gil, say you want to buy him, but he has flashy moments. But these two youngsters are both people that I think we've all sung praises on for kind of a while. Obviously, Poi, I think, has been regarded as one of the best youngsters for a long time. While I didn't do a list last year, he was actually originally like number 2 on my list last year of like kind of the ones to watch. And obviously had a pretty decent year all in all. Still continues to be basically like the only real like saving grace from like the grassroots of Sweden coming up. And then Syrah, check the tweets. I've got the receipts. I've been singing this guy's praises for years since he was, I'll say it every time, since he was playing on Proserpia in a Blast Qual when I was casting it, and he was insane then. So a cool team, and of course, led by Glaive. So as a whole, an interesting team on paper, but this is now, it's a long road. Now, we saw Paravision do it the last year, right? Unranked at the start of the year, end up making it towards the major at the tail end. It is doable, but
IP as well.
True, very true. But God, it is so
It's gonna be tough.
so long. These guys have
I
got to
think-
play every tournament under the sun, every land that they can get an invite to. They've got to go. Yeah, it's long, man. I mean, like, there's a joking rumor that we might see them at things like Epic Land, but legitimately,
Well-
like, they've got to play them. They've got to play as many lands as they can. Any low tier land that they get an invite to that's VRS ranked, they've got to go.
When it comes to like tournament operations and what decisions they make as to what to play when and where, if there's one person I'd want in my corner, that would be Messioso,
That's it.
Absolutely.
and they've
The
got
best
it.
of the best.
So that's at least what the main thing going for them is, that like even if their form isn't great to begin with,
Yeah.
they'll find a way to gain point from scratch. In particular, they'll find a way to gain points whatever it takes, and they'll make the right decisions to get land points. They'll probably beat like some random, like as you say, they could just beat like 2 mixes at Epic Land
Yeah.
and suddenly like at least be top 100 in the
Yes.
VRS, right? Something like that. So I would get them on the page. When it comes to the roster in general, I think the mixture of like experience and youth is great. You know, I'll echo your thoughts about Sira and Poi. I think they completely agreed. We kept an eye on them for a very long time.
Yeah.
Same with, I think Agile is okay for the role he's in. I think he might be the first one to go if
Yeah.
they do want to make a change later on in the year.
Agreed.
But I still think there's one big question mark, which I think is going to hang over this team until they look in any way decent and in any way synergized. You have a first-time coach in Glaive and a first-time IGL in Rain. How is that going to pan out when you've got 3 youngsters playing alongside you who you need to try and mold into a cohesive unit, right? Apparently, as far as I've heard, Poi secondary called quite a lot on CT.
Yeah, he will
on
secondary
Alliance.
call in this team.
Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing because like you can share, I guess, old ideas and new ideas as such with an experienced player and a more a younger player. But yeah, that is still obviously that is my one big question mark. How is the first time, even with all the experience and all the trophies in the world that these guys have got with Glaive and Rain, first time in these roles, it's gonna have to be, they're gonna have to hit the ground running pretty quick.
Yeah.
The other big question that I have is like, how much is Device and Rain going to care on this team to grind through these online gauntlets for a long period of time? I mean, we look at Simple, right? Going from phase to stand-in situation to BC game, and you're like, okay, he's hungry now. You know, he had that little taste of the major. He'll be gutting for that tier 1 spot again with this team. Never really found that motivation. Honestly, found it like he lost all of it over that period of time,
Yeah.
regardless of the fact that his core was competitive and actually cared. This is now going to, I mean, obviously, Simple and Device and Rain are completely different caliber of like, I think like mental spaces right now.
Yeah.
But like, I still worry for them when Device hasn't really touched those kinds of qualifiers before. Rain, same for him, he probably even more so hasn't touched those qualifiers in a long old time, and they're getting to like the twilights of their career. Like,
It's true.
how much can you really expect from them to care? Like, how much buy-in is there for them in this project? I think that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah. Just because, like, honestly, like, they're gonna have to play maybe 95% of the year in absolute dog shit Counter-Strike. Like, it's I can understand.
And they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose.
They're
to
gonna
shit teams.
they're gonna lose to shit teams. They're gonna probably play quals where they lose to cheaters as well. Like stuff that like basically Device and Rain are just not used to. Where Agil, Sira, and Poya, it's much more in the wheelhouse for them. They're obviously like they know what this is all about because they've done the gauntlet of the online space. But like for Rain and Device, who are past their primes by obviously quite a long way now. How do you stop yourself just slipping into becoming a paycheck stealer and just, sitting pretty, getting the monthly salary in, and knowing that your job for this year is like such a long shot? Like even the conversation, like the road that they have to take to get to the major is so brutal. Like at the end of the year, like that. They could not make it by the end of the year, and it still wouldn't be like seen as a bad year for 100 Thieves, right? Let's say 100 Thieves get up to like top 50 or whatever. Or like, no, maybe not top 50. Maybe like, let's say they get like 35, like just outside of the major. You wouldn't be like, oh, it's a bad year for 100 Thieves because we know how long that road is. The one thing I will say is maybe a bit more of a positive. There is like 1,001 tier 4 lands this year, it seems.
Yeah,
I feel like there's
which
like
is
so
good for the scene.
Yeah,
but,
it's great for the
Definitely
scene.
easier for them, I would say, compared to like an NIP
Yes.
Yeah.
before
Compared
to
to
have to
last year, I
grind.
think it's much easier because there's so many now. Like I saw a calendar of like tier 2 lands, and there's like I think in January alone there's like 8. So
Yeah.
like it's actually kind of
Still.
like it's good. But then again, they can't even play them yet. That's the issue, right? They
Yeah.
actually because they have no VRS ranking.
There is open registration, which is an
Yes.
option, right? But I don't think they're going to do that straight away. They're going to wait until they've at least put a couple of qualifiers first, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I want to just say to finish off my thoughts on the team is that if you were to really push me for my genuine opinion here on device, unfortunately, I would say that I said this in podcasts in podcasts gone by.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably should have retired already. I'm not sure if his health is up to scratch with how his stomach is and his, I don't know, is it Crohn's that he has? I can't remember what he has. He has some like severe
Something
stomach
like that, yeah.
severe stomach issue. Is his health up to scratch to continue to go for these grinds and these travels to different small lands across the world to try and get this team up to where it should be? If you were to really, as I say, if you were to really push me for an answer, no matter how much I like the names and respect Device hugely and love the team actually in general, I think Device is past it, and I think that in 2 years, within 2 years, he calls it a day. I
Yeah.
think.
But at the same
That's
time,
generous. I think it's generous.
at the same time, can you blame him? He is going to sit at home, maybe boot camp a bit, but he's going
And
to
make a
sit at
bag.
home
I know.
and make a bag. So
Yeah.
Well,
would
it
you-
really depends on
would you
how
not do the
active they're
same?
going to be traveling. I mean, if they are traveling as long as they are, as much as they
True.
are, then it completely shifts the conversation of like, okay, well,
Yeah.
now you're just like doing the same thing you did in tier 1, but like in shittier conditions and like
Yes.
against
Yeah.
worse teams, less prestige. Like he's really got to want it in this next
Agreed.
year. And as you mentioned, right, you would say that if they're in the top 35, you wouldn't say that it's a bad year. In their minds, it might be. You know, for
Yeah.
Device to Rain, they might want to be at the Krakow, the Cologne as soon as possible. And if they're not there, you know, would they want to
I think-
continue doing that?
I think
So,
they
yeah, I
are-
don't know. It'd be interesting.
They are realistic, I think. I think they do realize the task that like is in front of them, but at the same time, yeah, I'm hopeful for the team in terms of like where they could go in the future. And I hope 100 Thieves are going to commit to it, which it seems like they definitely are for a long period of time. But yeah, I think that, as I said, love Device. I don't think he's hurting his legacy by doing this. I think that
No.
legacy is intact. There's nothing to worry about when it comes to that. Like I don't think any player, even like Simple, for example, like no player who's had those incredible peaks for so many years and doing what they're doing now, it's not hurting what they've done in days gone by. But like, yeah, realistically, I don't see him sticking around for too much longer in CS. But yeah, I think make the most of it while we can. Put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough. We can end it off there. Last thing to touch on is actually before we do
UT's
it.
back to 9Z, actually, if you didn't.
Oh,
didn't
how
mention
could? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Right, next 30
He's
minutes.
home.
Next,
My boy is
next
home.
30 minutes. Let's carve it out for this one. I did actually have a funny thing. I don't know if you guys have checked, but do you remember the 100 Thieves roster the last time they played a game?
Well, it wouldn't have been the Brazilian team, would it? Because they never played a
No,
game.
no.
'Cause famously, they never played a game, right?
Not.
Can you list? I can tell you the tournament they played at.
Oh.
No. I know. Is it
It's
Gratisfaction,
Yeah.
Gratisfaction, Jacob,
Azur,
Azza,
Liaz.
Liaz,
Yeah,
and
last one. The big one.
JKS.
That's
JKS?
it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Last game they played was against Furia, best of 5 at IM New York, NA, in the grand
Yeah,
final.
real event.
In the
Real event.
classic
Real-
online era, of course. Yeah,
online era,
Krieg era, online era, all the
Krieg
above.
era,
And then they became Extremum, didn't they? They
Yeah.
got dropped by their
Yes.
organ and became
Extremum.
Extremum.
And then isn't that
Yeah.
became Extremum, and then I can't remember how long that team lasted, but
They played like one major cycle during
Yeah.
online, and they played like a summit or what have you, and then like
yes,
they didn't do as well, and then they just didn't make the major, and then they just called it quits.
they just
Like,
dipped. Yeah, they're like, yeah, fuck
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
All right.
fair enough.
Final thing to touch on before we just like look at the calendar a little bit, but I guess we're kind of looking at the calendar. We've had the rumor mill as of today talking about the major. I say rumor mill, they've actually been confirmed. Well, at least one of them's been confirmed, which is Buenos Aires via Fire Esports going to be hosting the first major 2027. Their CEO or COO came out and did a little thing saying like we're excited. So big up. So they're hosting the festival in Buenos Aires. I mean, in general, kind of cool. CS going to Argentina is kind of sick. No idea really what to expect. Yeah, CEO Rodrigo Figueroa Reyes confirmed. Pretty sick for them. I will say, I think it was Yanko who tweeted it saying it's like kind of wild in a way that Fire Esports are getting a major despite never hosting a tier 1 event ever. Right, that first and foremost is it's bold, but assumption here probably then has to be that they're partnering up. Now, they were originally going to host an event with PGL, which would make sense.
PGL.
I feel like Valve, obviously, they trust PGL because they're such a known quantity. We know PGL are always going to run a fantastic event. That's basically a guarantee, right? So that would make a lot of sense if they're partnering with PGL. If they weren't, I mean, obviously, none of that's confirmed. So if they weren't, that would be quite a curveball. That would be really throwing Fire Esports in the deep end because not only have they like never hosted a tier 1 event, but like even in the events they do host, I mean, they don't even have like English streams. Like it is just purely in Spanish. So it's
They have mentioned having English streams multiple times, and then they've eventually not run those English streams, and they've gone with full Spanish. And that's like the worry for me is that the teams that you're inviting are not English speaking teams. They're all South American teams. It's a small number of teams. Like these are like 4 to 6 team lands.
Yes.
And they're doing it in like I will give them props. They're doing it in like these weird
sick
locations. Like they've
the,
done it,
the tube station one was cool, but nothing beats
cool.
that.
They did one in Barca.
But yeah, no. But I would say the one that for me wins, which I'm pretty sure was Fire Esports running it, was the one on the military aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah, that might have been them.
I'm pretty sure that was them, and that was mental. Like I saw the pictures from it. That was pretty sick. But yeah, funny enough, that Barcelona one was actually the last time they had an English broadcast, which was Dinko and Henry, I'm pretty sure.
Henry, yes. Yeah.
And that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it's been a while, like since they've had an English broadcast. Obviously, like because we know that because we've all tried.
No, and they've mentioned it to us that they want to do English streams, and then it just fizzles out. Like they either don't have funding for it, or they just don't want to do it, and that's fine, right? But you need to have these reps. Like we've already seen in the past when orgs that try to run these events don't have the experience, it comes back to bite them. That's how you have bad day ones. That's how you have like bad playoffs, and that's how you get like forgotten and being remembered as like a bad tournament organizer, right? So it's a real importance that they've got to get this right multiple times before getting the biggest offer a tournament organizer can be offered.
Yeah, that is all true. I completely agree with both of you. I just like my only real 2 cents on this is that what my 1 cent is that it's going to suck to watch time zone wise, but that's just us having first world problems. We've had EU majors for years and years, right? Like
only for you.
Yeah, exactly. For Annie, it's fine, right? So fair enough. They deserve 1 or 2. Secondly, I think this is cool that we're going to new countries for Counter-Strike for the big events for the majors, right? I mean, I think it is our world championship. We should be willing to go and explore the horizons of new places on the planet to host these big events. And of course, as well, like, you know, an example for Formula One that, you know, there are still a couple, I think haven't done an African Grand Prix in years and years, and people keep saying, like, we're a world championship. We should go to places like Africa and more other places on the planet to show off our brilliant sport. So yeah, it's cool for that. I also think at this point for South American countries and for Shanghai, which is the one, another Shanghai major coming after Buenos Aires, CS and this sort of industry is becoming more and more popular by the day. Arenas in EU and organizers in EU won't you'll have to pay them to use their arena. And I think in Shanghai at this point, the TO will be paying you to have your game and your major at the event, right? Like you'll be, I haven't worded that right, but you know what I mean. Like they will be the ones offering up the cash to bring the major to their country. So yeah, rather than you having to pay for it, they pay you, and I think that's one of the biggest drawing points for like a Shanghai major as well. And I'm not saying Buenos Aires is like this, but especially coming from a very new, fresh TO who's only really done tier 2, tier 1.5 stuff, but still, bottom line, cool country to go to and a nice fresh a fresh place, fresh location for a major.
Yeah. Genuinely might have to go out to Buenos Aires. Real talk. Might have to make that trip.
Mate, the thing is, like, if I'm paying for like obviously quite expensive to do Cologne this year. I really want to go to Singapore as well because Singapore is like a bucket list,
so sick, dude.
Bucket list country for me to go to. If I then have to pay for Buenos Aires as well, I'm not affording that, bro. I'm not that rich, so can't do it.
I might have to. I don't know. It's a big choice. I don't think I'd pay for Singapore purely because the way I'm going to judge it in my head was that Singapore is a super expensive country. It's like one of the highest like countries in terms of GDP. Buenos Aires is not. So the flight might be expensive, but everything else there'll be dirt cheap. So
conversion's really favorable.
Yeah,
for sure.
Average cost would actually be quite good. I actually think the average cost of that Buenos Aires major will be less than flights included will be less than Cologne.
Probably.
I'd throw out there.
I don't think that's
Cologne flights.
Say, yeah.
Cologne flights maybe not that bad for us. They're maybe like
no.
I don't know if you've bought your flights already, but like
they'll be 200.
200 to 300, right, in that range, depending on kind of like when you go in popularity and whatnot. But then hotel for like a week, you're doubling that at least. It's like it's going to be also, like minimum 100 a night, if not more.
There's like a convention going on at the same time, like the Cologne Major's going on. So like every hotel is booked up, and the prices are ramping so ridiculously right now.
Triple it already. So then we're talking like like it's going to be like basically about $1,000 if you want to go for a week. Then food there is way more expensive. Where I'm talking like, let me even just Buenos Aires. Like, let me just go on Skyscanner. I reckon when
Google like, flights,
UK what's that airport called?
Aeropark Internacional Jorge Newbery, AEP. Apparently,
I'll just do all of Buenos Aires and I'll do flexible. So, if I was to fly in June this year, it would be £560 return. So, do you know what? It's actually not that bad. And then hotel will cost you for a week. There's no way it costs you more than £300. No way. In Buenos Aires, food will cost you like next to nothing. So, all in all, that's actually it might actually average out being the same if not cheaper. Is what I'm saying. So
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but Singapore I think is quite expensive. So I know how you feel. But either way, we're all gonna be working them, so that's all that matters.
Right.
I will say though, for the one thing I was thinking about for Buenos Aires, like kind of like for the Fire Esports one, like I kind of feel for them in a way because they're like sandwiched in like a really like it's like all around them, like for the like kind of 3 before, including the 3 before and the 3 after, because we also now know about 2028 as well. ESL and Blast hosting the 2028 majors. ESL rumor is either Rio or Sydney, is what the rumor mill is saying. And for Blast, it's NA. We still don't know where NA. That's what the rumor mill is saying. Blast killed it with Austin. I actually wouldn't even mind them going back, to be honest, or like anywhere in the south. I thought that was in general. I just thought it was like a really cool place, but.
Low-key, Austin is the only place in America I'd go, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the rest of America's like such a shit show right now. So
nah, do you know what?
I'm not gonna take the rage bait. Rage bait used to be believable.
Yeah. I keep hearing this. Like even when I did the road trip with you, Annie, everyone was like, oh, like like my mom was like, be careful. Like, of what? Like I live in London. Like what the fuck are you on about? Like I literally live in on average one of the worst boroughs in London as well. So like I don't know. I think it's so blown out of proportion. Like
there are a lot of really cool cities that we could make work. Chicago would be really cool. New York would be really cool.
As well.
Atlanta would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Texas, if we get to Dallas again, I would still say like Dallas can be fun.
I mean, it'd be sick if they could do New York, but it's so expensive. But damn, that'd be so cool. Like that'd be so cool.
Okay, dream with me. Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh my god, if they did Nashville, my favorite place on the. Did they have like an indoor stadium type of thing? They got to do.
The Predators. The Predators.
Pardon?
The Nashville Predators, the hockey team.
Oh yeah, right. Kick them out. You lot can do one. We got CS to run here. But another one which I'd actually like, because it would be even more of an excuse for me to go out there, would actually be somewhere West Coast, like.
Yeah.
Because
Obviously,
West
yeah.
Coast, I've not done any
California
of
would
it,
be
right?
great. Yeah.
Do anywhere California, like San Francisco, maybe. I know it's got its bad places in San Francisco, but I still kind of want to go there at some point.
I think LA would probably be able to have the infrastructure to make it work.
Yes.
So it would probably
Wait.
be there, even though it'd be super busy. But
No, never mind. I was gonna say when is it happening, but in my because isn't
2028. Oh, actually, it would overlap. It could potentially overlap.
Yeah. Wait, when
2028 is the LA Olympics.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, the Olympics. Like, surely it
And if they have the
couldn't
summer,
work.
and if they have the summer slot, right, then they'd be screwed.
14th of July to 30th of July. It actually might be before the major. It actually be okay, right? It's August.
It'd be after because major would be in May end.
Oh, okay. Okay, whoa. It could be the warm up. Yeah. Okay.
Add Counter-Strike to the Olympics. I'm kidding.
Oh, I wish.
No, everybody comes to LA. We stay there for an extra week to watch the major, and then we stay another week after and we watch
the Olympics.
That's
the summer break. Our player break.
See, look, I joke with what I said earlier. I joke with what I said earlier, but that would be sick.
My line.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Team Serbia beat Team America in basketball as I wear my wherever it is. My new Belgrade Partizan jersey. I think it's in this bag.
I'll take things that will never happen for 1,000, please.
Where did I put it? Oh no, I thought I had it.
So I joke about what I said earlier, but low key, like I would love to go to New York and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think they've got a lot of choices, and I think the biggest question mark for Blast is how willing are they to spend, because we saw the arena that they chose for like the DC event wasn't really that big. The Moody Center obviously pretty good for the capacity, and honestly, I think there would have been even more willingness if they went to a bigger stadium. Like if we went to K. Bailey Hutchinson again in Dallas, I think that would have sold out as well. So I think now that they've got the data of how willing fans are to go, they can pick an even better venue than they did than the Moody Center.
And also, I think they know, like we saw this year, like the willingness of like buying merch, right? That they're obviously going to get a cut from stuff like that. Like, I mean, obviously sold out within an hour on day one, so they can obviously like quadruple the amount of stuff there. So that's already money in that way. I've never seen people at events put away food and beer quite like Austin, Texas people did. The queues for incredibly overpriced beer were the longest I've ever seen at an event. So
we're the goats of just the worst pricing on anything in an arena.
Consumerism in America is mental. But
you want $15 for a pint?
Oh god, it was like
in a can,
worst fucking beer ever as well. It was so bad. Oh man. But yeah, generally, I think as a whole, like I'm really excited again for America. I think 100% I'd come back out again. I loved that road trip we did. Obviously, I think I don't even really remember that much about the major. I kind of remember obviously the road trip mainly. But that was a great time. Real kind of core memory, you know, memories for the grandkids, that kind of vibe. I think talking about the ESL one, it actually would be sick if we got a major in Oz. Now, time zone wise, I think it would be rough. And also the other thing as well is that apparently visas are quite difficult in Australia, so that could be a bit of an issue. But they've ran Sydney and Melbourne and had for the most part not too many issues there, so I think it should be okay. But the Brazil one is kind of interesting because, you know, from what we knew was that like they were like after the last major they were like, we're not doing another major in Rio, but then rumor is they might. Now obviously it is only a rumor, but I wonder if they do go back to Rio or if they change a city. Now we kind of like jokingly were saying about like Sao Paulo, that'd be cool, but the rumor is basically just Rio or Sydney.
If they're willing to go Shanghai, like with only a 2, like how much of a year gap would it be? It would be a 4-year, no, 3-year gap, isn't it? 24 to 27.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh, 27, right?
Yeah. So that's a 3-year gap between the two Shanghais. Rio, the last one would have been 22. Yeah. So like they are willing to go back to. I mean, look, they used to have Colognes like every year as majors. So
true.
Like it's not like a crazy thing.
I will say though, another kind of like something that was mentioned after Cologne, it's then what the next 5 majors or something like that are like.
Not in EU.
Yeah, not in EU, which is
That's kind of crazy.
It is kind of wild in the sense of an esport that is dominated by EU.
There's still places we haven't been to in Europe, man. Like it's kind of crazy how like underused the rest of the big cities have
Birmingham.
been. Oh.
No, you are right though. Like there is like places that we've not been that would be kind of interesting. Like again, like I was like running through in my head like places that have like a decent appetite for esports that also have the infrastructure as well. You could go to places like in Spain. Like I think that would be really cool.
Exactly.
Places in Portugal also be kind of cool.
You could give Lisbon a major. I think they'd show up.
We've seen how well Blast on it went when Lisbon they've done that. They always show up. So they seem like cool places. But also like it's just like there's so many places that like maybe don't even have like a great like appetite in terms of like players for CS, but you like you put it into a centralized. I mean, we were just in Hungary. Fucking Bartorzy, name me one Hungarian player that plays actively. Don't say Slend, he's not active. You know what I mean? Like already, you know what I mean? We're not. It was not exactly a place that is like has an appetite, but it's so centralized that it's so easy to get to. I mean, that's what arguably one of the most full arenas we've had, right? So
yeah, and people just love the city and the capital, right? I think lots of good reviews of that city. And I think the same can be said for lots of other countries too, like you say. So
I forget the guy on Twitter. I think it's maybe Polop, maybe, but someone keeps saying Brno.
Yes, Brno, yeah,
Brno, yeah. Which is actually on my bucket list of places to go.
Yeah.
So honestly, at some point, make it happen. But that's what I mean. Like, I think we've got like enough places where like it doesn't matter whether they play Counter-Strike there or not. Like, you could go to even like countries that only have like a real kind of like a tier 2 scene. You could go to like a Czech Republic or whatever, put one in Prague. Like, it's so centralized that anyone can kind of get there so easy. It's like 2 hours from basically any point in Europe. So it's gonna be interesting. Time zone wise, it's gonna be pretty cooked for us in Europe, especially if it goes to Oz. If it goes to Oz,
nobody gets any like love for that.
No one wins. Even people in Asia lose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even in China, it's like quite a big difference. So it's like no one wins of Oz, which I think is probably the main downside of the Oz side of thing. I'd rather it be in Brazil. At least like I remember watching most of IEM Rio, the major, and it not being too bad. But man, whenever like IEM Sydney's on, I am catching the last map of the last series basically, and that's about it.
Like when I caught the Falcons Vitality game, I was catching overtime of map 5. Like that's all I caught of that entire best of 5. And then the worst part is that game was like insane. Like it was probably one of the best of 5s of like the year. So like I don't know. It's brutal when that kind of happens, and if we have to put it in major time slots, it's gonna be
it'll be rough. But like at the end of the day, I think Oz have deserved a major for a very long time.
I completely agree though.
If it's gonna be one major like out of like the next 10 that goes to Oz, I'll deal with it. Like it's whatever.
Sure.
Like let them have it. Let them have it.
Exactly.
To be fair though, I do think like after this year, they're going to both majors, Austin and Budapest for the first time. I'm obviously definitely going to Cologne. I'm unsure about Singapore. Will be expensive if I decide to do it. I think that will be the time I have to take a break from going to any more majors. If they're going to be in the countries they're going to be in, I'm not going to be able to. I will not be there. I will not be there. I think I will be relaxing watching them at home this time. So. Yeah, I think cool countries to go to, but yeah, Canada's exciting in general. I just think like, despite people still not 100% loving Counter-Strike as a game, like because of what Go used to be and all that sort of stuff, right? You can't deny that esports is still just growing and growing. Like the scene people love the scene, and I think it's not going to go away for many years. Really.
I keep seeing. I've been reading a few articles about like how people are talking about like the scene as a whole, and the one word they keep using is consolidation, which means basically all the money is going towards the top, which is in a sense a good sign for these big TOs, because it means they can continue running big events. And speaking of, let's look at the calendar to finish off the pod, right? We've got obviously some stuff underway already with Blast that's kind of currently on as well. There's a couple of kind of these tier 2 lands that are running, Player Masters and Roman Imperium Cup. We've got Krakow round the corner to round out January. Feb, Cluj, which looks super stacked as well. Looks like is one of the most important events for VRS as well. Super early on in the calendar, which is sick. Inter Pro League and Blast Open Rotterdam. April, very busy. Bucharest, Rio, Fissure, and Blast Rivals as well. So kind of 4 big hitter TOs there as well. May, Astana, Atlanta, and CAC into the major in June. So the first half of the year as well, quite a lot going on, and that's not including just like how many tier 2 lands are kicking about. I do actually have like a little
pop up, yeah.
Yeah, I have like a little list, and just reading through, I'll read you some of kind of the tier 2 lands that are kind of running, at least for the first. I'll just read the first 2 months, so Jan and Feb. So we got Meta Cup in Kazakhstan, Urban Riga in Riga, Latvia, Roman Imperial in Portugal, Player Masters in Sweden, United 21 in Sweden, MPL also in Kazakhstan. That's just for January. February, Exor in Poland. There's an Istanbul LAN as well. There's one in Oslo, another Roman Imperium one, another Meta one in Kazakhstan, the first Parkin of many, apparently, in Denmark, and Draculan in Romania. I mean, for the first 2 months, within the tier 2, there's like 11 lands. So
which is fantastic, right? Like so many different countries are now joining in on this like wave of hosting these tournaments, which is great especially for like to get these tier 2, tier 1.5 teams to get a chance to perform to play like a Krakow, for example. I mean, like Foot are going to be there, right? Foot is a great example of a team that can continue to grind not just online but on LAN as well. They managed to keep their team intact, but for Makaze, and look at how they're doing now. So yeah, I think it's so good for the scene that at least we get that. If we don't have RMRs anymore, if we don't have these incredible tournaments that get you to a major, like as long as we still keep this and these countries and these small TOs, still find the money and still find a way to profit off of these small events and like to continue to run them, the scene is healthy enough, I would say, to exist.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're in a decent spot. I think the hope is, can we work some of them?
I know we're pushing, aren't we? It's so hard to know who to contact, but we'll try.
Yeah, exactly. Whose uncle do I need to DM to try and get me on one of these lands? Get me to Kazakhstan, mate. I'd love to go there. I want to tick off a new country. Get me to Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Tajikistan's running a land soon, so want to get over there. That could be
unironically, nice. I actually might be going to Tajikistan this year, just on holiday.
Really?
Nice.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah, I actually might be.
What for? What's there you want to see in Tajikistan?
My mate, from home, he has a friend that he works with whose dad is like quite high up in the government in Tajikistan.
Oh God!
So
that is such a crazy link, dude.
So he just said like, if we want to go, like his dad will just like show us some cool places. Like, obviously he's like, lived there his whole life or whatever, and he's in the government. So he was just like,
fuck it, dude.
He basically just said like, yeah, like you want to come see my home country, like come have a look. It's really beautiful. Like I think for a long time Tajikistan didn't allow tourists. I think it was until just after COVID, I think I'm right in saying they didn't allow tourists. And now they've opened it up, and it's like they've got like some like sick thing, like I don't know what the capital is, wherever the capital of Tajikistan is, in the center it's like all white marble, and in the capital you're only allowed to have a white car. You can't have any other color. And like basically everything's white. You should look at the capital of Tajikistan. It looks very, very sick. I don't even know what it is, but it's called Dushanbe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dushanbe. Anyway,
almost certainly not.
Yeah, definitely not. However, look at it. Place looks super pretty. Okay. So I might go there. I'm at a point now where my goal is to just keep ticking off as many new countries as possible. I think next, actually, the next couple this year, I want to do Slovenia because place looks super pretty and it's super close. Go to Ljubljana, or whatever, how do you ever say it? Go to Lake Bled, all of those things. I want to go to Budapest. I obviously couldn't go because I was in China working, but I've heard only good things about Hungary. It looked really pretty. I think it's pretty cheap.
I agree. It's very cheap. Yeah, that's exactly a big positive of that place.
And then, God knows, I don't know what other like.
I want to go to Gdansk. I had a group of friends who went to Gdansk and they really liked it, and I never got a chance to go. So I'd like to go there one day.
I like Poland a lot. I just think as a whole, like I think it's like one of my like favorite countries I've been to. I think it's super sick. I think like my first ever LAN was Warsaw, and it was
There you go.
one of the coolest places I've been. Krakow is a sick place. Don't go to Kato, nothing there. But I've been there a couple of times. But yeah. Either way, boys, we're done. So let's round it out. What have we got coming up for the next? I don't know. Who knows how often we'll do these? I'm gonna put it out here. First video of the year, first pod of the year. I'm actually gonna do more content this year, and in doing more content, I'm gonna try and be more proactive with getting these podcasts done. I think it's ambitious to say every 2 weeks, but once a month feels good.
Once a month, that was what I was thinking as well. I think once a month is pretty reasonable.
If we can do 8 this year, I think we've done a good job. A really good job. If we can do 8,
bro. If we can do,
we're already moving the bar lower and lower.
If we can do,
okay.
If we can do
30
like,
seconds.
If we can do 3 this year, we might beat last year.
True. Yeah, we've got like our one super fan who's been waiting for this podcast to come out for like the last 6 months, dude.
Exactly. We'll try and be more like. I want to be more on it with the content. I've actually already wrote my script for my bold predictions for this year as well, which I will, I guess, record this week, release next week. But there's gonna be content coming out. We're gonna do some new things as well. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of stuff. Trav will be streaming at some point as well. You know how it is. And he's coming back with the content. I'm putting him on blast. He's bringing it back this year. I'm gonna be.
Oh no, I am. I've been streaming recently on twitch.tv/datpaladin with a 1 instead of the I.
That's it.
There you go.
And yeah, I'll be doing it pretty frequently, like every week or every couple of days in the week.
Because you finished with your studies, right? So you got time.
So now, if you want the demo reviews, if you want the
what have you been
breakdown of the
streaming?
news, live views. So I did some demo reviews recently, like one on Cobra Zera. We took a look at the Eyeballers phase game that just happened.
Nice.
Things like that. So, I mean, if you are interested about that and you want to see more of that kind of content regularly, I'll have it up there. And if not, eventually I'll start editing those VODs for the YouTube as well. So, yeah, definitely stop by.
Bang. Trav, what you got? You got some casting and I'm sure streaming as well.
Yeah, so I'm grateful to have some more ESL qualifiers to do. Of course, I'll have like lots of CCT and maybe some Nodwin Clutch series when the scheduling is all sorted out. I'll have all those regular online casts to do. But I will have some like good high quality qualifiers to cover for IEM Rio. I believe me and Hayes have got the final for whether there's only 2 regions for the IEM Rio qualifiers, global and Americas. We've got the Americas. I think 4 games in Americas, but also the Americas final. So we'll be covering the team that actually makes it to IEM Rio, which is going to be pretty fun. Looking forward to that. Grateful to have those games. When it comes to other stuff, obviously just waiting to hear back on a lot of things as it's the beginning of the year. Same sort of freelancer bullshit that we'll have to go through and wait to see what we get coming up. But yeah, we'll be streaming a little bit more, I think, but most of my content now comes on my Twitter and my Instagram. I think I'm trying to post a little bit more to my Instagram this year. I'm trying to build up my Instagram following a bit more as well. So if you want to follow me there, it's TravCasts. My Twitter is TravCS, as you can see, but TravCasts my Instagram. And yeah, my Twitter content is usually, I'm quite proud of that. It's been doing very well for the last like 3 months or so. So make sure to drop me a follow there and keep up to date with everything, all the goings on there. And yeah, I will post about whatever cool things are happening on there for sure.
Yeah, there we go. You know how it is. I'm gonna do more content this year. I want to actually make sure of it, especially in the early part of the year where we don't actually have loads of casting. I may as well fill my time with something. And now that I've finished Spider-Man 2, I've got a void in my life, so I don't really know what to do now that I have 100% of that.
Watch
game.
Fallout. Have you watched Fallout yet?
I watched like 3 episodes, I think, and I got kind of into it. And then I think it was like coming out weekly, right? And then I went away, and then
okay.
Same with
it's decent. I enjoy it.
Same with The Walking Dead. Like I think I watched like of the second season, I watched the first episode, and it was coming out weekly, and then I was away, and I've not finished it. So I'm currently like catching up on a bunch. I've just started one called Dark, which apparently is really good, and the first 3 episodes pretty interesting. It's the only show I've seen bar Chernobyl where like every episode's a 9 rating or higher. So worth keeping an eye out. It's a German show, but it's a Netflix one. It's pretty good so far. So that's probably going to be my next week. I'm still recovering from Serbia as well. I'm absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much I sleep, I just feel tired permanently. But either way, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, ladies and gents. Of course, make sure to go and check out the gang on all the socials. You know how it is. Like, subscribe, follow, all of the good stuff. You know how we do it. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next time. Peace.